कितने पार्टिसिपेंट हो गए अभी?
मैम 14.
40.
मैम
हाँ
मैम स्टार्ट करें.
हाँ विकी सर, हाँ वही
ओके मैम.
सर.
Yes,
सर स्टार्ट करें क्या?
yes, I'm ready. If everybody is there, then we can start.
ओके. डायरेक्टर सर ने अपने आप को एक मिनट, डायरेक्टर सर को विकी अनम्यूट करना.
ओके मैम.
मैडम कंटिन्यू करिए.
स्टार्ट
कंटिन्यू करिए.
ओके.
हाँ जी, स्टार्ट करिए. स्टार्ट.
ठीक ठीक. A very good afternoon to everyone. Today in our Sage Talk session, we are having our Sage speaker, Professor Sushant Panda sir. A very welcome sir, a very good afternoon and welcome you on the platform of the Sage Talk sir.
Thank you.
Before starting, I would like to give a short introduction about Panda sir. Sir is currently working as a principal in Royal College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Berhampur, Orissa. And sir has completed his B Pharm in 1992 from College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Berhampur. And he did his M Pharm from SGS ITS College, Indore. And again did his PhD from Berhampur University, Orissa. And sir is having more than 25 years of experience in academics. And he has published more than 25 articles in various reputed journals, international and national. And currently he is having 8 candidates which are doing PhD under his kind guidance. And his current research field is analytical method development stability studies. Today sir will deliver a lecture on generic medicines. So without wasting any time, I would like to invite the sir on the stage talk. Sir, please.
Thank you, Priyanka ma'am, for giving a very beautiful introduction. Now let me thank Professor Jain and the entire administration of SAGE for having inviting me to deliver this talk. I will be giving the talk on this generic medicine, challenges and advantages. However, it is a very vast topic, but I try to squeeze it uh, and deliver the required thing to the students and faculty, whoever is attending, in a very simple manner, so that everyone will understand what exactly is generic medicine and what are you going to get like with the generic medicines, where exactly if I say in the society you don't have a proper picture of generic medicines as of now. So I'd like to give a little light on that, so that we will have a clear picture about generic medicines, right? So my topic will be generic medicines, challenges and advantages. Whenever we talk about generic medicine, the first impression comes is what are generic drugs? Many questions comes in our mind, like also do the generic medicine work the same as the brand name medicines? Like we it is a known fact that we have to pay much lesser for the generic medicine. So we have in our mind, like, do we get the same benefit out of the medicines, generic medicines, like the brand name medicines? Next comes why do the brand name drugs look different then? Another big question is, why do generic medicine cost less than? So again, there are few more questions which will be answered during this discussion. I will try to do that. Now, in fact, going directly to the generic drugs may be difficult for someone to understand. That is why what we will be doing is, we will be learning what exactly is a brand name drug and how are they developed, how are they released into the market, and then we can compare the brand name with the innovator drug. We call them as brand name drugs or innovator drugs, so that it will be easy for us to understand, right? I hope everybody is receiving, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is that okay, Priyanka ma'am?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
sir. Okay.
Thank you. Next, like this single chart I have prepared just to explain the very vast topic of drug discovery. From here, what we generally understand is, it normally takes about 5,000 to 10,000 molecules to synthesize and then to screen them to finally arrive at a point where we have one innovator drug or one brand name drug. So the first step says discovery, that is identification, synthesis, and screening of drugs. You take about 5,000 to 10,000 drugs and then go on screening them. That takes about 5 years, 4 to 5 years it will take. Then comes the preclinical testing stage. I'm going a little fast for this particular thing. It is just a preamble to the generic drugs. Okay. So the next step is preclinical testing, where we need to conduct many laboratory testings, in vitro testings, and the animal studies. We will be using the animals like rats, guinea pig, rabbits, mammals, the primates, monkeys, dogs. All those animals will be taken, and there are a lot studies to be conducted. And by the end of this particular phase, we are left out with only 250 drugs. Sorry, not drugs, 250 chemicals which we are trying to develop into a drug. So out of 5,000 to 10,000, now left out is around 250. And this also can be covered within those 5 years, or at best 1 more year we can add, around 6 years. By the time of 6 years, we can complete this preclinical testing. Then we apply for the investigational new drug application. This is as per FDA. So to the FDA, any company after completing this stage, we will send the application stating that I want to start the clinical trial if approved. So IND application will be sent. The FDA will take some time to decide upon whether it is safe to conduct the clinical trial on human or not. If they find from the data that the company has provided, if the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, okay, FDA, that is the regulatory body, if they find that it is safe to conduct the clinical trial on human being, then they may permit, they may approve the IND. So remember, IND is not a marketing authorization. IND is an approval that is given just to conduct the clinical trial on human being. So commercial production cannot be started here unless and until we complete the clinical trials. Right? Now, the clinical trial, basically we have 4 phases. Not elaborating much. Phase 1 clinical trial, we take about 20 to 100 participants. We call them as volunteers. They may be healthy. Some cases we take patient volunteers, but mostly healthy volunteers, only 20 to 100, to know the safety aspect of the drug. If it is found to be safe, then the company will proceed to the phase 2 clinical trial, where the safety and the efficacy will be established, and that again will take another 2 years. So the first phase will take 2 years, second phase will take 2 years, and then and the second phase will be conducted in how many? 100 to 1000. 100 to, somewhere it is written like 100 to 500 people are involved in the phase 2 clinical trial. but mostly we take about 100 to 1000 volunteers, and all are patient volunteers. We don't include healthy volunteers. Okay, next. Then we go for the phase 3 clinical trial, where we have to involve thousands of human volunteers. All are patient volunteers. And by the time we come to this phase 2 and phase 3, we are left with one or to the best 2 drugs. So we started with 5,000 to 10,000 chemicals to convert it into a drug. And by the time we complete phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trial, we are left with only one, which may be converted into a drug if approved by the FDA. So after completing the clinical trial phase 3, the company will apply to the FDA, and that is called as new drug application. So through the new drug application, what the regulatory bodies or the FDA will look for, whether the drug is safe or not, whether the drug is effective or not, whether the drug has some advantage over the existing line of therapy or not. Suppose there are hundreds of drugs that are being already sold in the market. Let us take one example of any anti-diabetic drug. So what will be compared? Whether the new drug that is trying to be developed is having some advantage over the existing drugs or not, anti-diabetic drugs or not. If it is there, fine, well and good, that will be approved, provided it is safe enough. Okay, so by the time this phase 3 is completed, it takes around 4 years. So you can see in the chart at the top, we already have completed 13 years. So from the stage when we started, by the time we complete phase 3 clinical trial, 13 years it has taken. Then we have applied, and normally FDA will take around 1 year to approve it or not approve it. So let us be positive, we feel that okay, it will be approved. So by the completion of 13 to 14 years, one single drug comes out to the market, the fate of which we are not sure of, whether it will click in the market, it will do good business or not, because there is a declaration that is to be given by the company to conduct the phase 4 clinical trial. So by the time the drug has completed phase 3 clinical trial, you apply NDA, then NDA if approves, now you get an approval for commercial production of the batch. I hope it is clear. So once you start the commercial production, that will be sent to the market, and in the market the clinical trials will continue. That is called as phase 4 clinical trial or the post marketing surveillance. Once the marketing authorization is given, it is still we have to continue the trials, where it will occupy or where it will take like a wide range of people, and it's not selected people, like in phase 1, 2 and 3 we generally go for selected volunteers with a definite criteria, where in phase 4 clinical trial normally we don't select the volunteers, they automatically come, and we have the system to establish the result of the clinical trial. So normally, as I told, it takes about 13 to 14 years to develop one possible drug which may click in the market or not. And these drugs are called as the innovator drugs, right? Now, how much it costs? The company normally stands about in an average to the minimum $350 million US dollars. And so roughly if we calculate, it will come to around 2,600 crores, like always $1 million and $1 billion, that I am little bit confused. So I converted it into crores so that it will be easy to understand. And for purchasing a Boeing 747, how much is required? $150 million. So by the amount you are spending, or with the amount that you are spending for developing a new molecule and release it into the market, with that amount, you can purchase even two Boeing jet, Boeing 747. So with that huge amount of investment that the companies are doing, they will definitely look for getting it back from the market. So where from they have to recover it? Definitely from the market. And hence, what the company do? They go for protection of these innovations. These are called as innovation. So these drugs are patented and they are protected in the market. And here comes the first challenge for the generic drugs. The last line, as it says, only off a patent drugs can be sold as generics. So unless and until the patent that has been granted for a specific drug that does not expire, no company can release the cheaper version of the drug, that is generic. So that is the first challenge, that we need to wait till the patent term is over. Got it? Now I hope with a minimum idea, everybody has understood what exactly is one innovator drug or a brand name drug. So every company, those who develop this drug, new drug, they give a brand name to that and they release it to the market. And they have the definite monopoly for a particular period because they need to get the returns what they have spent. Now we can go to the generic drugs. What does it says? A generic drug is a medication that is created to be the same as already marketed brand name drug. What is that? It is the same as an already marketed brand name drug. Same in which sense? Same in the sense of safety, strength, route of administration. Like suppose the company previously has developed one tablet, you cannot convert it into a capsule and make it the generic form. You have to also go for a tablet only. So route of administration has to be the same. Quality, the performance characteristics, as well as the intended use, everything has to be same. Now let us go to the third one. In other words, you can take a generic medicine as an equal substitute for its brand name counterpart. So from here we can understand it is a substitute. And what is that? Almost equal substitute. Not almost, we can exactly say equal substitute for its brand name counterpart. So when this can be prepared, when this can be sold in the market, definitely after the patent expires. Okay, now to be approved as a generic drug, what are the requirements? First, it contains the same active ingredients. Now you talk about any tablet. Why the tablet is useful? The tablet is useful because of a specific chemical, that is a drug. The excipients are of no use to us, but excipients are required to convert a drug into a dosage form. So we are not concerned about the excipients. We are concerned about the chemical, that is the drug. So the generic drug also contain the same active ingredient as the innovator drug. Innovator drug, I repeat, it is also called as brand name drug, where the inactive ingredients may vary. Then the generic drug have to be identical in strength, dosage form, and route of administration, have the same use as well as indications. And one more, the most important is be bioequivalent. I will explain this bioequivalent concept in next two slides. Before that, generic drugs also should meet the same batch requirement. That means whatever the test you are conducting for the innovator drug, same test you have to conduct for the generic drug also. And what is the last point that is mentioned? That wherever you are manufacturing the innovator drug, in whatever the condition you are manufacturing, that means like following the CGMP guidelines, the same CGMP guidelines are also required to be followed for manufacturing a generic drug. So now we can say it is equal, except what we have not learned by now, what exactly is bioequivalent. So let us go to the next slide. Human bioequivalence studies have been required for the generic drug since 1984. Now, exactly in 1984, what happened? The Hatch-Waxman Act was implemented. That Hatch-Waxman Act has promoted the use of generic drugs in US to the maximum extent. And there it has been mentioned that every generic drug to be approved or any generic drug that is to be sold in the market must be bioequivalent to the innovator drug. Right. Now, how do the drug act on our body? The drug, when let us say a tablet, if we take a tablet, it will enter into our stomach. From the stomach, it will enter into our bloodstream through the process of absorption. From the blood, it will be taken to the site of action. So the amount of drug that is reaching the bloodstream is important. Unless and until the drug, a good amount of drug, that is a minimum effective concentration of the drug reaches the bloodstream, it will be ineffective. So what is important is amount of drug that is reaching to the biological system, or we can say, let us say for example, let us say for now to the blood. What exactly this bioequivalence test says? That how much of the drug of the innovator drug, that is the brand name drug, is reaching to the blood at a definite time, the same amount of drug should reach to the blood in the same amount of time for the generic drug also. That means suppose X amount of drug from the brand name drug is reaching to blood in Y time, then if you try with generic drug, then X amount of drug also should reach in Y time into the blood from the generic drug. And what we require? We require the drug to reach the blood. And if that is achieved, we are not concerned about the excipient that are being used, right? So bioequivalence refers to the absence of significant difference in the rate at which, that means at what time it reaches, or the extent to which, that means the amount of drug that reaches the blood. Okay, the drug we are calling it active ingredient, right, to the site of action. Okay, now to make it little more simple, and how can we understand little in a better way, we will take example of two drugs, drug A and drug B, and we will compare the study with a innovator drug. Let us say for example drug A. Ideally this test is conducted in not less than 24 volunteers, but here I have written for 6 volunteers because the calculation will be easy. Otherwise we have to conduct it with 24 minimum volunteers. So let us say the test or the reference AUC, area under the curve, for drug A in 6 people are 110%, 120, 110, 110, 90 and 110. So if you take the average, that is the mean, it comes to 110%, right? So the average is 110%. Then 90% confidence interval is 99 to 115. If you calculate, there is through statistical application, 90% confidence interval is 99 to 115. What does it mean? That means 90% certainty is there that the true range lies between 99% and 115%. Okay, so in 90% of the cases you will find the range between 99 and 115. Next, let us say drug B. Here again we will take 6 data, though as I told 24 people should be involved, 6 data. And what are the results? 110, 170, 50, 130, 90 and 110. Again the average, if you calculate mean, is 110%. And you can check the 90% confidence interval, that is 75 to 140. Whereas in the previous case it was 99 to 115. So here what does it says? Although the average level of the drug is 110%, that is same as drug A, Okay, we are 90% certain that, or we are 90% sure that the true range lies between 75% to 140%. So in some cases 75% of the drug may be delivered, in some cases 140% of the drug may be delivered, and that in 90% of the cases that may happen. That means the range is too wide, which is not accepted, and that is why the drug fails the bioequivalence test, and drug B is not equal to the innovator drug, whereas drug A, which is having 99 to 115%, 90% confidence interval, can be said that yes, it is equal to the innovator drug. And if you see it in the form of a graph, you can find one is for the innovator drug, that is a brand name drug, the other one is for the generic medicine. You can see the data, Cmax and AUC almost matching. That means the amount of drug that is reaching the blood or the site of action will be same with the innovator drug as well as the generic drug. So we are not concerned about how it was prepared, like what are the active inactive ingredients. We are concerned about active ingredients. It indicates that, like it is written in the last line, it indicates that generic medicines work the same as brand name medicine. Is that clear? So for innovator drug, we need to do a lot of research, which was not done, in case of the generic drugs. What we have done, the most important and the only requirement is it should be bioequivalent to the innovator drug. That's all. If the same amount is being delivered, we are not concerned about all other things. That is how we can now come to a conclusion. These are the questions that generally that was written in the first page, that whenever we are talking about generic drugs. Now I hope you must have understand what exactly are generic drugs. These are nothing but the cheaper version of innovator drugs having the same quality. Quality is not compromised, okay, but same as that of innovator drug. Second, do generic medicine work the same as the brand name medicine? What will be the answer now? Definitely yes, because we have learned that. Same way it has to work. If it is not bioequivalent, it will not be approved. So that is how it has, once it is approved means it is acting the same way as the brand name medicine is working. So there is no difference in the working. Now what is the third question? Why do brand name look different from their generic version? In fact, there is a trademark act in US where they have taken like where they have described that there has to be a difference in the brand name and the generic version look. That is why it is different. It looks different, but it does not work different. It works the same. The fourth one is, what standards must generic medicines meet to receive FDA approval? We have discussed about the standards, like it should be same with the strength, purity, identity, the way it is working, bioequivalent, and all those requirements. Like same test they have to follow. Next is, in the same condition they should be manufactured. If that is done, FDA may approve it. If everything is same, now the most important question is, like if everything is same, then why do the generic medicine cost less than the brand name medicines? And I'm very sorry to inform that even many of the doctors are not convinced about the generic drugs. They say that these are very cheaper drugs, these may not work like the brand name medicine. And many of even those who are involved in the pharmacy also, they are not very clear about generic medicine, that why they cost less. I'd like to answer to that. And in the after that, I will answer the other two questions. To answer that, let us just go back to the drug development chart. For any innovator drug, what I have told, all these steps are to be followed, which takes about 13 to 14 years. Then they get the patent and go on manufacturing that, go on selling the drug in the market. For generic drug, you need not do all this, you need not to do anything. no preclinical trial, no clinical trial. You can simply replicate the data of this innovator drug and apply for getting approval for a generic drug. So what you have not done, you have not spent in the R&D, you have not done the clinical trials. Okay, and see, clinical trial takes how many years? About 8 years. You start by the end of 5 years, you start with the 6 years, continue up to 13 years. So 6-7 years it continues, the clinical trial. Now why? Because you have to involve a lot number of volunteers, and you see, it is not a recruitment process that you will give a notice and people will start coming to participate in the clinical trial. No, you have to talk to the people, you have to convince them, you have to explain them, then you have to enroll them if they suit your requirement. And collecting these people is a very Herculean task, very difficult task. That is why it takes so long, and you also have to spend a lot. So as I told, about $350 million you have to spend. Whereas you need not to spend anything for the generic drugs. It is simply a copy of the innovator drug, where you have to present all this data. That's all. That is why, that means you have not spent anything for the R&D. So definitely you get it at a cheaper price. Otherwise, as we have understood, the quality, strength, identity, everything is same. Perfect. That is the reason why the generic version are available at a quite cheaper price as compared to the innovator drug. In US, like is a generic version of my brand name medicine available? Suppose you are prescribed with a brand name medicine and you want to know if the cheaper version is available, generic drug is available, then as per like US requirement, you can refer to the Orange Book. Orange Book is nothing but the entire list of the drugs that has been approved as a generic drug. So you find out your, you search whether the drug is available or not. If available, you can also go for the generic drug instead of continuing with the innovator drug. However, wherever some drugs are very recently approved as a generic drug, they may not appear in the Orange Book. So for them, you have to refer the first generic list. That is the most latest drug that has been approved as a generic version. In India, however, little different is the system is little different. You have to for in US you have to apply the IND, that is investigational, before conducting the clinical trial. In India, you have the CT10 form that is to be filled, CT11 form that is to be filled. Then you apply for it. And in India, the system is they hardly develop the innovator drug. It is not like the Western countries. We mostly rely on those countries for getting new drugs, and we anyhow, whenever we apply to the CDSCO for getting the marketing approval of any new drug, then there is 4 years exclusivity in India. That means no other company can manufacture that particular drug for 4 years. It will be a monopoly for that particular company, and after that the companies are allowed to release the generic versions to the market. That is why in India there is a concept of branded generics. I don't know whether is there. So branded generics, I'll go back to that. Questions. Is a generic version of my brand name medicines available? Yes, through the Orange Book you can find out. And second,
me, sir.
does the FDA monitor the side effects? Yes,
Excuse me, sir.
like the
Sir, sorry
innovator
for the
drug,
interruption.
side effects are being monitored.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
Sir, only last 1 minute is left for this meeting. So I would like to request all the participants to please rejoin once the meeting ends using the same ID and
No,
password.
it will be over.
And then we will continue.
It
with
will
the
be
session.
over. It will be over.
Sir, only last
It
1
will be
minute.
over, I think. 1 minute.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, last 1 minute is left.
Okay.
So we will rejoin using the same link and we will continue with the session and question answers. Thank you, sir.
So we'll continue that.
Yes, sir. Using the same ID and password, we need to rejoin.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then. So you can, will you stop it now, or
Yes,
it will get
yes, sir,
automatically
yes, sir.
aborted?
Yes, sir, I'm
Okay.
ending it and we will start again.
You end it.